Everybody knows our next guest, and she's been a terrific friend of this program for years. Reba McEntire here, co-hosting 10 years ago. Joan is off today, and it is a delight for me to be joined by Reba McEntire, who time after time after time after time has been named Country Music Female Vocalist of the Year. Great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's great to be home.
Wow, that hair. Anyway, that was just one of Reba's visits here during her remarkable career, and now she has written a book. It is called Comfort from a Country Quilt. Her autobiography was such a big seller. Now she's written another book with some nice homespun stories, and she joins us again. Nice to have you here.
Thanks. Good to be back.
So much. I'm so mindful looking at this of how much has changed for you. You write about touring with your dad when he was in the rodeo and piling 4 kids into the backseat of the car. How were you all sleeping, the kids? Oh,
well, it was a lot of fun in a way, and I don't see how we survived it in other ways. Susie and I got the floorboard. And then Alice...
One on each side of the hump.
Yeah, one on each side of the hump. And back then they didn't have the carpet on the floor. It was just that old towel or rubbery looking stuff. And then Alice would get the biggest, the back seat because she was the oldest. And then Paik would sleep above the back seat, up there where the wind is.
Well, the car safety people would have a hemorrhage if they saw that. And then your dad would hit the brakes, and what would happen?
Well, you know, back then we didn't travel the interstates. There weren't that many. And so he had 2 horses behind us in the trailer. And so when Daddy'd see a red light, he'd stomp on the brakes, and Paik would come down, and then Alice and Paik both would come down into the floorboard. And by the time we all got back into our respective places, here come another red light. So it was chaos all the time. Not much sleeping going on.
But you've progressed from that to flying around in jets with your musical companies and all that. I mean, that's what a transformation of life.
It's been a lot of fun. I still remember the camaraderie and the fun that we had. You know, don't touch my leg while I'm sitting here. And here's the line, you know, don't move over there. When Susie and I, my little sister, were sitting together, and the fights and arguments. But that bond between siblings is something that I will never forget, and I'll always cherish. And that's really neat to take the family now, Narvel and myself and all of our kids, out on vacations, and to have that closeness. And that's something that you just can't replace.
And you say when you were in the car all those years ago driving around, you were all singing. And that's when it really sort of began. Well,
see, Charlie, we didn't have a radio. And so 4 kids in the back seat were usually always fighting and arguing and all the time. So Mama, to keep us out of trouble with Daddy, us getting on his nerves, she'd get us to sing. And so that's when she taught us a 3-part harmony, and one of us kids would sing the lead, and the other 2 would sing harmony.
So all the stories in the book, they really are such nice family stories, and they're little lessons in all of them.
I hope there's something that people can take with them when they close the book. It's things that are near and dear to my heart. I talk a lot about Shelby, my 9-year-old son. He's my favorite thing to write about because he's always coming in with something funny. Kids say the darndest things. And I love to talk about my family. I learn more and more about my mom and my dad. The older they get and I get, the more they start talking about the past. Things we didn't have time to talk about when I was a kid.
And so lucky to have them still around, so that you can go over the stories. So many people say, you know, they don't interview their parents or their grandparents to find out really what it was like in the old days, and it's nifty that you've been able to get them talking.
That's very interesting. It's one of the greatest Christmas presents I received this past year was Narvel's mother, Gloria Blackstock, wrote down her life story and gave it to all of us kids. And there's things in there you say, wow, I didn't know that happened. And so that is part of the reason why I wanted to do this book, so Shelby will know what's been going on in my life.
Well, again, the name of it is Comfort from a Country Quilt. Reba McEntire, nice book, nice little book that she's written. We asked Reba when she came here today if she would sing a little something, and she agreed. Now, our budget doesn't allow the 26-piece orchestra that she's used to, but she's going to do a little something a cappella, and you were going to sing one thing, but because of what happened in Colorado, you decided to sing a little something different?
Yeah, I did.
You're going to sing Amazing Grace?
I'd love to.
How nice. We're going to take a break. Reba McEntire when we're back. We're back with Reba McEntire, who's written a new book called Comfort from a Country Quilt, and it's always unfair to ask somebody to sing something a cappella, but she was very sweet and consented to do so. And because of what happened last week in Littleton, she thought it would be appropriate to sing Amazing Grace, and so here she is.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
You're a doll. Thanks. We'll be back.